So, here is my 2002 Land Rover Discovery. Now, most people when they think of a Land Rover, they're like, my God, it must be in the shop more than you get to drive it. And maybe that's true for some Rovers, but I don't think it's necessarily a very true statement in general. Every vehicle has got maintenance intervals, and that's a given. This thing's been amazing. Yes, there are things that have broke on it, but truly in the few years that I've owned it, there's really nothing that I would complain about. So here's the factors about them. They're amazing to drive. Their off-road capability is bar none a class of their own. Like, this thing in stock form outperforms a majority of other four-wheel drive vehicles that have been modified. So that should say something for itself. If you ever look up something called the Camel Trophy, check it out. It's phenomenal. They essentially went through the most remote areas that you could even think of with essentially stock Rovers and a factory winch mounted to them. So that's what kind of drove my passion behind owning one of these. This thing obviously is not stock anymore. Bumper guard, lights, snorkel, bigger tires, a little bit of a lift kit, very minute. But in general, it's somewhat stock, minus some aesthetics, bigger tires and whatnot. Gotta have the ladder, that's a must. But what I love about these cars is they drive like a small vehicle, they sit high, and there's just something about them, how they drive. I don't know what the way to explain it. They kind of drive very stiff. So what I mean by stiff is they just have a robust feel in the steering and the suspension to them. They are going to be more stiff than what you would expect from like a Ford Explorer or another SUV of the equal size. They kind of drive like a Mercedes G-Wagon, I would say. This year has got the 4.6 liter V8. This V8's been used since, I believe, the late 70s. The first Discoveries ran the 3.9, the 4 liter, and then this is the 4.6. Now, every motor has its pros and cons. These have, I would say the oil pump is a big weak point on these. If you're looking at buying a D2, there's a D1 and a D2. If you're looking at D2, oil pump is a big failure. In fact, if it's got more than 120, I would replace the oil pump. It's cheap insurance. This one did fail on me, but I caught it when it failed, and it didn't cause any damage. Head gaskets are a weak point on them, but they make an updated head gasket that I think is night and day. And I would say things I would do to these if you're thinking about buying one. The factory thermostat in these is horrific. I don't say horrific. It's just, it's beyond the temperature threshold of what these should be. I think it's like 193 degrees before it fully opens. That's crazy to me. I stuck a 160 thermostat in this out of the turbo diesel, night and day difference. And then also get a live feed system. What I mean by that is it plugs into the OBD2 port, and I'll show you how that works. And what that does is a live monitoring system of the actual engine temperature. The thermometer in these, I think, is a little bit delayed, so when it shows that it is overheating, it's already too late. As far as interior-wise, well, I love these. It's like about as luxurious as you can get, yet off-road spec, I would say. It's very driver-oriented. Four-wheel drive, 4-low. Interior is, I just love the design of the interior. They sit up high. They're very capable vehicles. You can haul all your friends and family in. And there's just something about them. Doors weigh like a ton. I love that about these. All these seats fold down. I mean, as far as storage capabilities, they're absolutely fantastic. I love these. I mean, this thing's been absolutely fantastic. I've driven the piss out of this thing, and truly it's been great. I think if you're looking at buying one of these, address those weaknesses: oil pump, head gaskets, and you address those, and it'll run forever. They're really tough. Parts are actually very affordable for these, and well, I'll stop yapping and let's go take this thing for a drive. So I have just shy of 163,000 on this, and I don't know if somebody bases a lot of miles when it's at 160, but a great example is my turbo diesel's got 340,000 miles, and I wouldn't even bat an eye. I think it all comes down to maintenance. You maintain a vehicle in its best form, and it will run forever, in my opinion. Obviously the field of view in these is one of my favorite things about these. Look at all the windows. When I was a kid, I wanted a Discovery because it's these rear windows that were like, I don't know, felt like I was in a space capsule, spaceship. And that's one thing that has always appealed to me about the Discoveries. They're very open. You got two sunroofs, one there and one here. And you know, if you're looking at a D1 or a D2, I think they're both great. Obviously the D2 has a bunch of upgrades done to it. I don't know, they said that they did 700 and some different new options on the D2 when it came out, I believe in 02, 01 or 02, quote me wrong on that. Cockpit is very, very driver oriented. There's a lot of buttons, a lot of features. Obviously this has a 6 CD changer, which I guess back in the day that was futuristic. I'm pretty sure it has the same CDs that when it came with it when it was new. I never use it. I just use a Bluetooth adapter. Gauges are very easy to read. You have your thermostat, temperature reading, not thermostat, tachometer, speedo, and then this is this, let's see here. This is what I recommend. If you are getting one of these, run, I don't know what you are doing today, but of course when I'm trying to demonstrate this, these are a lifesaver. It will show a live feed of what the temperature is. And like I said, that's just, I think any vehicle, you monitor the temperature, but on these, if you watch the temperature, I run, like I said, a cooler thermostat, a 160 out of the turbo diesel, super easy to install. Took me 15 minutes, and change the oil in these often. I run a Rotella 1540. I don't do synthetic. People are like, oh, you gotta do synthetic. Don't do that. These older motors, this is a 50-year-old engine design. It has large clearances. It's not tight like today's engine. And so a thicker oil, and in general, I love Rotella diesel oils because, yes, I said diesel oils, because they have thicker, they have higher zinc content and they're just thicker. So I ran a 0 weight in this in the winter, and I just felt it was noisy, valve train wise, and power is great on these. This isn't gonna win a speed contest, I'll tell you that right now. But I have a 24-foot boat that is got a curb weight of like 7,200 pounds, and this pulls it with ease. Cons. All right, cons. So I've owned this 2.5 years, almost 3 now, and yes, I've done maintenance on it. But like, honestly, there's not a lot that I would complain about. If you're looking at a D1 and D2, cooler thermostat, like I mentioned, I'll say that countless times. New water pump to ensure that it's properly cooled. Keeping these cool is #1 keen goal. These do leak oil. If you heard, everybody's like, oh, I bet it's a Land Rover, but it leaks. That is very true. This does leak oil, and I think that is an uphill battle. If you are watching this and you have a Land Rover that you say doesn't leak oil, then you know what? I want to learn your ways, because you know, they just do. I don't really find that a negative thing. It's not like this is puking oil. The main parts that leaks are valve cover gaskets and oil pan gasket. This one, the oil pan gasket is starting to leak. Not a big deal. So at the end of the day, if you are looking at one of these, they're a joy to drive, an absolute blast off-roading. You'll see me, I'll throw in a video of this thing off-roading, and it's just, they're a league of their own. And like I said, check out Camel Trophy. It'll show why these are so amazing. And if you're looking at getting one, check it out. Like, do your due diligence. And what is this guy doing? Do your due diligence, and honestly, I think you won't be disappointed in owning one of these. So if you have any questions, post them down in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe. And thanks for watching.